Each year in the United States, the flu or influenza kills about 40,000 and hospitalizes some 470,000. Last year's influenza was particularly deadly, resulting in a decade-high 80,000 deaths according to the CDC. Those are startling numbers, to be sure. As a consequence, when the fall rolls around, my guess is that in each and every one of your lives, you've encountered some behavioral nudge pushing you to get the flu shot. There are signs literally everywhere, and their message is clear. You must get the shot, get the shot, get the shot. Whether it's at a clinic, at a pharmacy, at your workplace, or even right here at UW, chances are you've seen a sign somewhere urging you to get a flu shot. And yet, research shows that most Americans decide to skip the shot. Last season, the CDC estimates that only 37% of adults received the vaccination. I don't mean to scare you with these statistics, and there are many acceptable reasons not to get the shot. Furthermore, I'm not an epidemiologist, so I'm not going to explore the science behind the influenza or the vaccine in this talk. What inspired me about this project was to study the public health issue and its relation to human behavior. In particular, I'm interested in understanding who is most likely to get infected with the flu, what are reasons people get or don't get the vaccine, and what can be done to drive a higher vaccination coverage rate. Let's start with who is likely to get infected with the flu. The CDC has published influenza related statistics and have visualized the distribution of those affected by the flu by age group in the histogram. As you can see, age group 5 to 24 has the most instances of influenza infection, followed by age group 25 to 64. However, this is misleading as the age group buckets are not equal. So I used the 2010 census data to find the number of people in the United States in each age bucket and calculated the proportion of each bucket that was infected with the virus. The graph on the right shows that the age group of young people 0 to 4 and old people 65 plus are most likely to be infected with the flu virus. Thus, the vaccinations to these groups would be most helpful. Some limitations of this data set are that the data is collected from 3,500 healthcare providers across 50 states. This means that hospitals and clinics across the US that are not in this group of 3,500 clinics and that see influenza related illnesses will not have their data collected. The second question I sought to answer was, what are reasons that people don't get vaccine? So to answer this question, I used data from a survey that was conducted in Nova Scotia, Canada, over the telephone and had 800 respondents. The dataset contains responses to questions as well as the demographic data of the respondents. The questions asked are, did you get the vaccine? And if not, what was your reason to not get vaccinated? Some of the responses were that people would have an allergic reaction to the vaccine. They did not know where to go to get the vaccine. They did not like needles, and they were too busy, or they were just afraid of the side effects. But the most common response was that people did not believe the vaccine would work. Digging into this a little deeper, the most common respondents who did not believe the vaccine would work had less than high school level education. So perhaps a way to increase vaccination rates would be to increase the vaccine education in primary or secondary schools. The third question I sought to answer was, where do people get vaccinated? I used the same survey data which asked the question, where did you get or where do you plan to get vaccinated? For the most part, people get vaccinated at the doctor's office, pharmacy, or a public health clinic. The fourth highest response was workplace, which is interesting because the workplace has less to do with public health than the other responses. The majority of respondents who will or got vaccinated at their workplace were in the middle age group of 35 to 54. This, if you recall, is the second highest age group that is affected by the virus, and as such, the workplace is a potential avenue into increasing vaccination rates as they can penetrate the population with the largest rates of contraction. The last question is, how can vaccination rates increase? John Bashir, a professor of behavioral economics at Harvard Business School, has tried answering this question. He designed a study at an 1,800 employee company in 2011. The study tried two things. First, it placed a flu shot clinic in the lobby of the workplace such that employees would be forced to pass by the clinic during the work week. The result led to an increase in vaccination rates by 6%, which in a company of 1,800 is almost 100 people. The second thing they did to be found to be effective was making people write down a date and time that they would administer the flu shot. Implementing this intention prompt enhanced vaccination rates by 4.2%. A limitation of this study is that there's a small sample size of one firm with 1,800 employees, and we must consider the racial and gender demographics of this firm before making widespread claims. Thank you.